Back again in the box, talking about some of the things that are going on with Chesterfield County Police Department. Again, I'm Officer Skinner, one of the recruiters for the police department, with my partner, Elliot. Talk to me, Elliot.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're at, whatever time zone you're on. Glad you joined us back today.
Now, we got a special program today. We've been talking to the Colonel Katz. We talked about some of the things of what it takes to be a police officer, the heart, integrity that you have. We talked to our background investigators. We're talking about once you start filling an application out, what the process goes from there. Now we got two special guests that we're going to get them to introduce themselves. We got a sergeant and we have a lieutenant for the Academy of Chesterfield County Police. Lieutenant, let's start with you, sir. Introduce yourself to our people.
Hello, good morning, good night, good evening, wherever you're from.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I'm Lieutenant Ed Pierpont. I'm the Academy Director over at the Chesterfield County Police Department's Training Academy.
Okay. And then we have my sergeant.
I'm, good morning, good afternoon. I'm Vershaun Godwin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently the training sergeant of the Academy, responsible for recruit training and in-service training for the recruits.
Good. Now, you heard the intro that we talked about with the colonel, the heart, the integrity that you have to be a police officer. We talked to the background investigators. We started, but once you fill out the application and get into that process, going through that process, now we done that, got the background done. Where do we go from there now that I'm a part of the academy? And I do remember my days in the academy when you had that paramilitary, you had to get up there and stand at attention. What are you all looking for now once you get into the academy? How's it going to be for the young people?
Well, I personally look for integrity, just like the Colonel said.
Yep.
Because if you don't have any integrity, you really have no business being a police officer or a public servant. It doesn't have to be a police officer. It could be a firefighter.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But integrity is the big one. Discipline is another one. Okay. You got to have self-control. You got to have control of yourself, of your emotions, and that's one thing that we start to develop. That's where the paramilitary concept comes into play.
Okay.
You know, just making sure that by the time that you graduate and that you actually hit the road on your own after field training, that you can actually do the job and be successful at it.
Okay. So going through that first day, I'm coming in. Walk me through, and we got plenty of time. Walk me through. I have to meet at the academy. I know we go through the orientation first, and then now that we're going to the academy, what am I to expect coming to that first day?
Well, the first thing you do initially on your day one academy experience that you think about the paramilitary portion, you're going to meet your training staff. You're going to be introduced to them. You're going to have opportunity to meet your training officer, your cadre officer, your secondary officer, that kind of thing. And you guys are going to just have a brief introduction there. Then subsequent to that, you will meet them for a second time at the flagpoles, sir, which I think is what you're getting to. Yes. And you'll meet them at the flagpoles. That's going to be a high stress environment for the recruits. And I think you just asked what we're looking for. That day is going to test the recruit's heart, right?
Oh, wow.
Pretty much immediately, they're going to be stress is going to be induced, right? Whether that be physical, whether that be verbal, whatever the case may be. And throughout that experience, throughout the next few hours, 8 hours or so, they are going to have to show us some heart, some ability to stick it out, to be willing to push beyond what they initially believe their limits are.
Right. When you say physical stress and stress-induced, we're not talking about hitting people or throwing them down.
No.
It is physical fitness is what we're looking at. And this is also done, if I'm correct, because stress-induced in a controlled environment will lead us to believe, will help us better understand if our employees can deal with stress when it is uncontrolled.
Right. Stress inoculations is how we refer to it. If and when, when recruits graduate and they become police officers, they will run into situations, as we all know, where people are not going to be the most friendly.
Right.
They aren't always going to say, good morning, good afternoon, sir, want to shake your hand and ask you how your day is going. They are going to be sometimes we see people at our worst, we'll put it like that, right? Okay. And in those situations, people are going to say things that could, frustrate an officer, that could, could be their attempt to get under the officer's skin. And they have to realize that, hey, these are just words. They need to remain professional, continue to do their job, and, do what is expected of them, regardless of what, the citizen or the person they're dealing with is maybe saying to them.
Okay.
Right.
So that first day that you were out doing a relationship or relating to them about what they're going to be expected of them, Do they lead to some people just say, well, this is not for me?
So some do. Not as many as you would think.
Okay.
But some do. The expectation that they had of the job coming into it was not what they received when they got there, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, all that stuff, it's done for, there's a purpose behind it. There's a purpose behind the training. There's a purpose from being out at that flagpoles, you know, in the morning, that first day that they meet training staff. You know, it's a time where we can induce that stress to them, and we're able to find out if there's a problem. Like, all right, is it going to be somebody that might have an anger issue, right? There's somebody that can't stand somebody yelling at them, you know, because we can't have that. Somebody yells at us. Everybody in this room knows we have to remain professional. Some people just can't do that. So that's where it starts, where Sean and I start to look and see and start to gauge the recruits that have come in. It's not that they're a bad person. We're not saying that at all. It's just that, all right, we've got something we got to work on. We're not. Our goal is not to get them to quit. Our goal is to train. So we start to see, all right, where are we going to start?
Some
who do we need to work with?
You may see in a person, and you're like, okay, we definitely got to work on that part of that person.
So one of the things the recruits could do potentially to be successful, to enhance their success in the academy, is to be in good physical shape before day one of the academy.
Absolutely.
Not come to the academy and depend on that to be their personal gym.
True.
But to come to the table with quality physical fitness standards already in place.
Yes, but understand something. You don't have to be the athlete or the athletic specimen, you know, to be a police officer. You don't. You just have to be healthy, eat healthy, drink healthy, take care of your mind, take care of your heart, and in turn, those will then take care of you.
Right. And I talk to them, and we got the Ready program, and we talk to them a lot of times saying, just don't quit. It's going to be hard. Things that you're not expecting is going to happen to you, but don't quit. And I think you all talk about that sometimes in the academy.
Right. Throughout the experience, we're pushing them. There's no doubt about it. They're going to be pushed. And I talked about limits, you know, in terms of what they think, how far they think they can go. But ultimately, the goal is to take them out of their comfort zone, you know, and help them grow. And there's never an emphasis or an attempt to force anyone to quit. It's all about building them. That's what it's about. And again, they're going to be, I keep going back to it, they're going to be physically stressed. They're going to be mentally stressed. You know, it's not just, we're talking about the first day, but they're going to get into the classroom. There's going to be book work, which for some people could be more stressful than the physical fitness portion of it. So again, the whole idea is never to force anyone to quit. Is to make sure that the people who have you know, arrived at the training academy to be trained, are going to make good police officers and ultimately, you know, do well for the community.
Now, you spoke about the classroom, so there is an academic portion of it. Absolutely. How long is the academy now?
Depending on holidays, we're looking at 32 weeks, a little bit over 1,200 hours, but 32 to 34 weeks, again, depending on holidays.
And I'm aware our recruits are paid to do the academy. They receive their salary. We provide training uniforms. We provide PT gear.
Yes, sir.
And it is a non-residential, so they don't live there.
Right.
But 32 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Compared to what does Virginia actually require?
Requires 480 hours, which boils down to maybe 12 weeks, a little bit over that. That is the minimum DCJS, Department of Criminal Justice standard. But we are obviously well beyond that.
So, and while we're beyond that, if the state requires a minimum, clearly we've exceeded the minimum by 20 weeks.
Right.
It's the expectation.
The expectation of the agency?
Yes, we have a higher expectation of our personnel. And we have that higher expectation that we want to give to the community that we serve. So it equals out to about 1,280 hours is where we end up with the 32-week academy. Some of that stuff is advanced training. We go into a little bit more detail, like crash investigation. They have an entire week of nothing but crash investigation. They have an entire week of building search, the entire active shooter, judgmental use of force, defensive tactics is 2 weeks long. So it's just topics like that where we're going to use on a more steady basis. We spend a little more time training on.
Good.
And some of these topics that you cover in the academy are not necessarily taught by employees. I understand we bring in outside people who are experts in their field, maybe mental health or
Right. Some of these, a lot of these classes that we're talking about aren't DCJS mandated. So these, double the amount of time. These hours come in by providing classes that aren't mandated. Right. These could be wellness. Right. Okay. There's a financial wellness class that recruits go through, and it's all about making them well-rounded. So this career is one thing, right? But what happens when you take off the uniform? What happens when you go home? Right. And yes, we do bring in professionals from outside. There's bring in Commonwealth Attorney's Office. We bring in the County Attorney's Office. There are mental health professionals that come over and talk about how to deal with de-escalation, how to deal with mental health consumers who may be going through a crisis. And again, I think we all could agree it's probably better taught by those who are in the field, right? And so they get exposed to it. They have several days of instruction, but that instruction comes from people who do that for a living. They've dedicated their life, so to speak, to that.
So what are you hearing from some of the applicants? What are they saying during the training that they would like to see more of, or they need to improve on? And I know one of the kids that I talked to a while back was shooting. You come in and never been in possession of a gun, never shooting a gun. I was one of those, never shot a gun before. How do you get that person on board to train that person, which we don't even use our guns in the field as more than you communicating to citizens.
Right.
So how do you get that person on board to learn to be able to shoot that gun and be able to handle those type of situations?
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. So, for instance, we're talking about firearms. So what our range master, Corporal Dewar, what he'll do, they start out with classroom. The first day is nothing but classroom, right? Getting them used to the firearm, getting firearm issue, getting them used to the firearm, going over the nomenclature of the firearm. And it's better, actually, if you've never fired a gun before, because we want to teach you the way that we shoot, the way that we stand behind our officers using the firearm.
Okay.
That way you don't have an opportunity to create any bad habits, like when you're talking about finger off the trigger and all that kind of stuff. No bad habits. So it's better if you come to us not shooting. We have a very excellent training staff down there for firearms, and I'm just not worried about not being able to train somebody. Corporal Dewar and the staff down there have always been able to train somebody and get them certified to shoot.
Okay. Sergeant, can you talk a little bit about driving? Again, I know we get our own vehicle once we graduate out of the academy. But again, you know how we are sometimes with cars. We think that that's something that we're in daily as patrol officers. Can you talk a little bit about the training on that vehicle?
Absolutely. So what happens is recruits spend 10 days. This latest iteration, they're down at the driving range for 10 days. And in the same fashion, firearms, they spend the first day in the classroom, right? We're going to discuss policy. We're going to discuss, rules and regulations. Before you even get in the car, before you even put that thing on the road at our driving facility, you need to get through the policy and figure out, hey, what can I do? What should I avoid? Those type of things, right? Then once they get out onto the driving course, there's a lot of time spent. It's not all about, driving fast and, going 100 miles an hour, chasing bad guys. It's also about, we talked about how much time we spend driving as opposed to doing these other things. You want to get them through cone courses, right? How to properly back your car, right? Give them tips that, okay, instead of driving into this parking space, it may be a good idea to back into this parking space, right? It'll be easier to get back out when it's ready to get when it's time to go. Just building blocks, again, working through the basics before you even get up to speed. Working on braking techniques, how to hit the apex of a turn to properly navigate corners, those type of things. So. 10 days is the amount of time they'll spend. Again, there'll be some pursuit driving. There'll be some conflict cars down there, but they'll learn to drive. And in some cases, for many people, will just enhance their skills. For some, may get them back to, get them to a point where it would be acceptable to drive the billboard down the road.
Right, the billboard, your office down the road is pretty much what you're doing.
Right. Now, most of our listeners just heard you talk about our firing range, our driving range, our training academy, and they may not be from this area. Right. Can you speak briefly about our facilities that we have? They may not know that all of our training is self-contained.
Right.
It is. We do all of we're an independent training academy. We have our basic academy. Okay, it's in one building, 6610 Public Safety Way. That's where probably 80 to 90% of your basic training is going to take place.
And also lateral officer training?
Lateral officers as well. That is where they will go. Obviously, firearms and driving is at a different facility down at our Enon facility. Both are in the same place.
Okay.
So that evolution of training is at those facilities.
Okay.
But most of your training will be at the academy.
Okay. And we have officers who are general instructors and officers who are assigned to your staff at the training academy. How many staff members do you have?
Okay. We have numerous staff members. We have 3 full-time training officers. We have a senior training analyst who also helps us out with keeping up with training for our civilian employees. We also have another sergeant position, Sergeant Bill Rosser, who's in charge of firearms driving, defensive tactics. We also have our range master, who essentially is just over all of our firearms training. We have a taser coordinator who takes care of our taser training and oversees that, and as well as a tactical training coordinator who helps us with judgmental use of force items, any type of tactical training that we do.
So the training academy doesn't just do basic training and in-service. You also have special training for ongoing education for officers and civilians?
We do. It's an annual requirement.
And you supplement all of this training you do with other general instructors from throughout the department?
Throughout the department, yes, sir.
Right.
Okay.
And most of us, or many of us, hold specialties within the department in terms of instructorship specialties, whether it's driving or firearms or defensive tactics, that type of thing. But there are other individuals, other employees outside of the training division that specialize in those things, whether it be radar or whatever the case may be. Bring other individuals who, if nothing else, provide a different teaching style, right? Provide a different perspective. Bring those people in to teach recruits, and again, incumbent officers too during in-service and so forth.
Right. So now, if we would go over your history of some of the areas that you worked in, you specialized in, Sergeant, we'll start with you. Some of the areas, and I know you were a background investigator at one time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
All right. So path started out as patrol officer, as each recruit officer will, right? And then I was transferred into personnel as a background detective. So I think you all spoke with Corporal Yance and Detective Gonzalez last week. And from there, I was fortunate enough to be promoted to sergeant, and I went back to the road for a little while. And then I was transferred to the academy, to the training division as a training sergeant. I had a few other specialties. Had opportunity to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do here. I'm currently a member of the SWAT team, and I think I jokingly say it, but you mentioned earlier about firearms and not shooting before you came here. I was in the same boat. I didn't do any shooting.
You didn't shoot before you got here.
Shoot before I got
I'll
here.
make sure we're straight. And now you're on the SWAT team.
Now you're on the SWAT team.
Currently on the SWAT team.
So you don't have to be in the military and all that to be one of the chosen ones to get on the SWAT team.
Nope. Showed up with no experience. Now I'm an assistant team leader.
Oh, man.
On the team. So
Good for you. Good for you.
So again, been on the honor guard, a few different assignments, but I've had a good time in terms of being able to do a lot of things that I wanted to do. So.
Right, man, awesome.
That's
LT?
great.
So like everybody else, I started out in patrol.
Okay.
And then after patrol, I had 2 goals. I wanted to be a motorcycle officer because I knew Chesterfield County Police Department had a motorcycle patrol.
Oh, good.
So I wanted to be a motorcycle officer, and I wanted to hopefully attain the rank of sergeant one day. So after patrol, I tried out for the motorcycle position, and I got it, and then became certified as a crash investigator, a commercial motor vehicle inspector for the county, and I was on the crash team along with all that. And I did that for about 6 years, and then after that, made the rank of sergeant, and then just continued to work my way up. And as a sergeant, this is actually my second time over at the training academy, because I've also spent 2.5 years as the basic academy training sergeant over at the academy. So, but then went back to patrol, spent some time in patrol, some more time as a supervisor in the traffic safety section. So
Awesome.
As we wrap up, I know you both said it takes a heart and integrity to be a good police officer. What does it take to be a good recruit?
Good question, Elliot.
Well, again, physical fitness. You don't have to be the utmost athletic specimen, but just do some sort of physical fitness. Get yourself ready for the academy and maintain that throughout the academy. We will help you. We will definitely motivate you, but we want you to maintain that fitness level. We want you to take care of your body. Listen, okay? Be a good listener. Listen to what we're telling you. Listen to what we're trying to teach you. It's different concepts than what you're used to. Don't listen to the TV. Don't watch TV. We're not. Wow. If you used to watch cops on TV, that's not us. Right. That's not Chesterfield County Police Department. That's not the way we do this. A lot of people come to us with criminal justice degrees. That's great. But still, there's more to learn. There's more to learn than just the book aspect of the academy. There's a lot of stuff to learn. So be open, listen, follow directions, ask questions if you don't know.
For me, I think a big thing is realize that you're going to be a part of a team. Like, you're entering a family, right? And that family environment, again, should show up in the personnel unit, but it will definitely show up at the training academy with your classmates, right? It is that group will become tight-knit, but at the very beginning, you need to realize that you are pushing your fellow classmates. You all are working together to get towards a goal. If something's wrong or something's not squared away on them, it should be up to you to
as a family member,
right?
To help that person.
To let them know, to get the whole team moving forward, right? So again, just willingness to sometimes put yourself out there. Sometimes bite the bullet, but at the end of the day, do what it takes to make sure the team is moving forward and the family is moving forward.
Awesome. And we talk about that a lot of times. And each person that we have interviewed or had that has been in the box, we talk about that we are part of the community. No matter how you look at it, we are police officers. We're there with the integrity. We're there with the heart to give back to the community. But understanding that we are part of that community. And when you move from New York or down south or from whatever county or state that you're coming from, understand you're coming to a company or a group of people that are part of your family. You're going to be family, going through the academy, working together. But again, that you are still part of that community. And I want to thank you guys. I mean, again, we
really appreciate it.
Great conversations in this box.
Thanks for having us.
Bringing folks over from the academy will give our listeners a concept of what actually they have to go through to be part of the Chesterfield County Police Department. With that, man, I'm telling you, Elliot, we enjoying this.
We're moving forward.
We're moving forward. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Chesterfield County Police Department podcast. This episode was written by Daryl Skinner, sound engineer Chris Rizzuti. We are the Chesterfield County Police Department representing Chesterfield County, Virginia. Check us out online at chesterfieldpd.com.